Breathe in, breathe out, right? Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're on today. This episode of As the Tarot Turns is brought to you on purpose with purpose, and I am your host, Crystal Lavender. Some people say I was either born to be a stripper or a hippie, but I'll drop it like it's hot, but I ain't gonna get back up. Maybe. Just like creep it back up a little bit. So today we're going to read for the collective of Scorpio, the Scorpio collective, see what sort of messages we have for you guys today. But before we get started, we are going to talk about this. Dun dun dun! This is my book. It's called Say You Love, and it is a testimony of triumph over the darkness of childhood sexual abuse and addiction, of sexual trauma and addiction. And I wrote this whole book with my phone. I mean, some paper, of course, but I wrote this whole book with my phone, and I just put this out there so that any of you out there that think that you do not have like the right software or the perfect material, or whatever it is that's stopping you from accomplishing like your true heart's desire, like you have everything that you need. You probably have all the tools in your pocket all the time. So if you are really interested in writing a book and you don't think that you have the tools necessary, I guarantee you, living proof that you do. All right. So, and I tell my story not because I'm proud of all the stupid shit I've done, because I've done a lot of really, really stupid shit. I tell my story for those that are stuck in like a shame loop, that think that their story isn't good enough, that they're not worth overcoming, that nobody really cares. I guarantee you your story matters. Like your story, like you have a story that only you can put in your words. It was my friend Adam's story that inspired me to write mine. And through his inspiration, I wrote my story. And now I've inspired other people to write their stories. So whatever it is that you've overcome, I don't care if it's addiction, I don't care if it's narcissistic abuse, I don't care if it's like childhood trauma, I don't care what it is, like whatever it is that you have overcome and have transmuted, there is somebody out there that needs your guiding light, okay? And also, like, I know that there's a lot of spiritual teachers out there that will tell you how to go about doing stuff, but they don't ever tell you like where they came from. They don't talk about like their dark side of how they got to be where they're at right now. So I really super appreciate every single one of you that are here right now. It's a huge honor for me to be alive and to be here and to be doing this and sharing this journey with you guys. So much appreciated. So Scorpio, let's get this party started. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, all those things. It's a small little click for you, but it's a huge bada boom for me. Big bada boom. Chicken good. So right now I am reading from the Mythic Tarot. It's based off of like Greek mythology. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm reading from the Mythic Tarot. And this is the deck that I've had the longest. So I like to start off my readings with this deck because it gives me a really good, clear understanding of what's going on. I really like the author's description. They're kind of long, so I don't like to read them like on here, but if you ever get a chance to pick up the Mythic Tarot, I definitely recommend it. The author does an amazing job helping break down the energy of these cards and like what they represent as far as the Fool's journey, like our own personal journey. So with that being said, I know a lot of people are interested in what cards that it is that I use. I have several of them, but I like to start off with these ones. These are like my go-to. Scorpio, I feel this like real kind of stagnant energy around you. Like I feel that you like aren't motivated. It's like you don't feel motivated to go anywhere. You don't feel any sort of like really crazy divine inspiration. It's like you're waiting for some like some crazy synchronicity to hit you. Maybe you've become a synchronistic junkie. Like I became I'm addicted to synchronicities. Like that's how the universe talks to us. That's how God talks to us. It's like I found myself constantly looking for them without realizing that I had all the answers inside of me. So I think some of you are seriously lacking motivation or just feeling really tired. I mean, we did get hit with a bunch of solar flares. You know, there's a lot of like new light energy that's hitting the planet. So yeah, you just don't feel like you have the sun in reverse. You got the Knight of Cups in reverse, the Eight of Wands in reverse. It's like the Six of Wands in the reverse. It's like you just feel real unmotivated, or like not inspired. That seems to be the overall energy. It's like you're just not inspired. There just seems to be like no, like a lull, like a stagnant energy. You know, and if you've run into depression, like I've had bouts of depression throughout my life. Like I've had bouts of depression that have turned my whole house inside out, you know? Like start in one little corner of a time. Like if you can't clean your room, like make your bed, you know? Like if you can't wash like all the dirty clothes, like put a load of laundry in the washing machine. You don't even have to start it right then, but at least you put it in the washing machine, you know? Put it in the dryer. You don't have to put it away right away, but like start like taking little small steps. But I just feel like you are really super drained, Scorpio. You might be dealing with a really controlling feminine energy. There might be some sort of controlling feminine energy around you. It's like you feel like you like if you take two steps forward, you take one step back. Two steps forward, one step back. So it's almost like you've given up, like not necessarily given up, but it's like you're like, I'm not fighting this no more. I'm not doing this no more. I don't feel like doing anything. Like sometimes, I mean, and sometimes that's okay. Like those days are perfectly acceptable, you know, but just don't get stuck in that energy, okay? Because it's easy to do. We get stuck in that loop of sometimes it's a shame loop. Sometimes it's like you're embarrassed, like you don't want to have people come over because your house is a mess, but then you know you don't pick up anything in order to have people come over. That's a good way to have energy to get something done too. It's a pretty amazing like how fast you'll clean up a room if you're expecting company. So maybe some of you should try inviting someone over, you know, someone that you know that you could trust, that isn't going to judge you, you know, one of your friends, like one of your really close friends, or you know, a relative or something that isn't going to like harp on you about it, you know. You'd be surprised how fast you could clean something up when you're expecting company to come over. Right? Like they always say, like, you could tell if a boy was really interested in you if the back of his toilet is clean. But I just feel like this real unmotivated, like you just feel real unmotivated. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You need to rest. There's nothing wrong with taking rest. Got the Four of Swords, you know? Like some of you are just mentally exhausted. Yeah. Like you don't see, like you're not, it's not that you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Is like you just have no, like it's like it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. It'll be what it's gonna be, you know. But you can't stay in that energy forever. Yeah, we got the Ace of Wands and the Page of Cups. So get out there and start to do something. I mean, even if it's just to step outside, take your shoes off and step outside, right? I just heard somebody say, as soon as I take my shoes off, I got a goat head stuck in my foot or something. Like, don't get caught in that pessimistic type of like energy either. You know what I mean? And if that's what you want to do, like, okay, like that's what you're going to do. Like, there's no judgment here. I mean, I've been in those moods. Yeah, but you're like, you got the Eight of Cups, you got the Five of Cups. It's like you are just not motivated. You're like, have you ever been around one of those people that like whenever you're in a bad mood and somebody tries to lighten your mood, you're like, just shut up and go away, you know what I mean? Like, let me be in my bad mood. It's like that's kind of what I feel coming off of you right now, Scorpio. It's like, I don't want to hear your positive bullshit. Just let me be in a bad mood, you know? Just let me hate on whatever this is. Just let me be in my own whatever. Excuse me. You know? And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you know that that's what you're doing. You know, if you know that you're like having a bad day, or you know that your energy is not the greatest, like sometimes it's best to retreat. But don't make that retreat turn into isolation and loneliness, you know? It's like some of us have hermited for so long that it's turned into like, you know, instead of going inside of ourselves, like we become so inside ourselves that it's like we don't know how to get out of ourselves. So don't don't get stuck there. You have the strength. Some of you feel like you're just not, like, you have no energy or motivation. Like, that's just what it feels like. It's like, no, I just want to be in a bad mood. You know? You might have somebody that is abusing their power around you, you know? And some of you probably have, you know, with this whole holiday coming up, like maybe a lot of you have like a bad memory or some sort of something associated with the holiday of Father's Day that's coming up that makes you just feel really depressed. You know, maybe some of you lost your father recently, or never really had a good relationship with your father. And my condolences to all of you that feel that way. You know, like my son hates Father's Day, you know. And it's amazing what someone being in your life can completely like change your life, but then someone not being in your life completely changes your life too, you know? It's like when my older brother was younger, he used to have fantasies about, because my older brother was adopted, and he used to have fantasies about this great luxurious life that his like real mother had, and like all of her children and all of these things. And then when he met us, he was like super, like he was like taken back by the fact that like he actually had a really good life, you know, and that it wasn't, you know, wasn't anything that he thought that it was, you know. But sometimes our mind plays tricks on us. You know, if we don't know the answer to something, we just automatically plug in the answers with our own imagination. So I feel like some of you might really be down right now because of this coming up holiday. Like you don't feel festive. You don't feel festive. You don't feel like celebrating, you know. You might really have like some sort of serious father wound there, you know. And there's a lot of humans out there that have that wound. So you're definitely not alone, okay? You are not alone. And rather it be that, you know, you didn't have a father, or you had a really shitty father, or, you know, you had a really great father that's no longer here. You know, be thankful. Try to, like I told my son, you know, like I keep trying to explain to him, like, could you imagine what it would have been like if your father was in the picture, you know? Like how much we would have had to go through if he really was around like that. You know, it's like sometimes they're doing us a favor by not being there, even though it doesn't feel like it, you know. It feels selfish, or it feels like it's like they're almost expecting you. It's like, well, like I've heard people say that, oh, well, my kid doesn't reach out to me. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's your child. It's like, that's not their responsibility to reach out to you, you know? Like, you're an adult. You have to make the decision to reach out to your child. You have to make the decision to be there, you know? And for people that don't get to see their children, I would suggest keeping a notebook, right? Like writing to them, you know? Because I know that as I was growing up, you know, all the things I thought about my father, all the things that I was angry about, you know, like with my parents separating and whatnot, that if I had received a journal from my missing parent they had been writing to me the whole freaking time, you know, it would have given me a whole different like perspective on who this person was. So if you're out there and you are separated from your child, or separated from anyone really, like start writing them a journal. Keep them a journal, because children are only children for this amount of time, you know, and the rest of their lives they get to be an adult. So if there's somebody that is controlling like you being able to see them or not see them or whatnot, like that's not going to last forever, okay? Like your child will grow up to be an adult. So start writing to them now. Get a journal that's specifically for them, you know? And don't be bad mouthing their mama or bad mouthing their daddy. Just write to them, you know, explain to them like how your life's going, what you're doing, you know, what's going on, like how you're thinking about them. Like I guarantee you that'll make a huge impact on your child when they become an adult. All right. But I feel like some of you are just real. Yeah. You're not having it, but you do have the justice and the upright, you know, so eventually this will work out to your favor. All right. It just might not feel like it right now. You know, people forget that that their children grow up and then they get to make their own decisions, you know? So if you're feeling really heavy about this upcoming holiday, like, my heart goes out to you. But yeah, you just feel really unmotivated. You got the King of Swords in the reverse, but you got the King of Cups in the upright. So like you're full of love, you know? I just think it's misplaced, like misplaced anger or misplaced resentment. You know, usually resentment turns into anger. You know, sadness turns into anger. Instead of you being sad that somebody's not around, you get angry about it because it's easier to feel angry than it is to feel sad. And that's understandable. That's like natural human behavior. So, but you do have the Ten of Cups. You know, maybe try reaching out. Reach out and touch someone. ET phone home. And you got the Knight of Cups. Like, there are people that definitely love you and that have love for you and want you to be around. They care about your well-being. You just might not feel it right now. And like sometimes that's perfectly okay. To just be like, no, I don't want your happiness all up in my bad attitude, you know? Like, take your happiness over there. I've definitely felt that way before. You know, like, how dare you try to ruin my bad mood? You know, but I do think that you have people that are supportive of you. But don't go down no toxic behaviors. Like, if you have an old addiction problem or something, like, don't let this holiday like stir you into relapse, okay? Like, if you've had that under control for a while, like, don't let the memories or the resentment or the anger like turn you backwards. All right? Remember how hard you worked to be to where you are. You know, definitely, like, if you have a sponsor, you know, if you have a sponsor or you have a support group or something like that, reach out to your sponsor. You know, let them know, like, there's no shame in asking for help, all right? There's no shame in asking for help. Like, it took me a long time to understand that me going to a therapist was not an admittance of defeat, okay? Like, for a long time, I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to go see a therapist. Like, I've got this, because in my mind, if I went and saw a therapist, that means that there was something wrong with me, you know? And I really, like, therapy actually really did help me. And it took me a long time to get there because of my ego. My ego would not let me go and ask for help. So don't be afraid to reach out to people that actually do care, because there are people that actually really do care about you out there, Scorpio. Don't be scared, okay? I know this might be a rough holiday for some of you, and my heart goes out to you. Like, I'm sending you a big, giant freaking hug. Big, giant hug. All right? But don't beat yourself up, and don't get stuck in this energy for too long. Don't let one bad day turn into a bad week, turn into a bad month, turn into a bad year, all right? Like, if you start noticing yourself like slipping backwards into those old patterns or just sleeping, you know, sometimes we need sleep, but for how many days are you going to sleep? You know what I mean? How many days are you going to put off washing your dishes or doing whatever? Like, your normal everyday routine stuff. Just take small steps, like make your bed. You know, put a couple dishes in the dishwasher. It doesn't have to all be done at once, because that can be overwhelming, but make small steps in the right direction. All right, Scorpio, I love you guys very much. Vroom, beep, beep.